you teach it that way? Why don't you teach it this way? Because I've seen other teachers teach it this way. What makes your teaching different, you know? And I'm not doing it to be disrespectful. I'm doing it because in my mind, I genuinely want to understand, right? I like to pull, because me, the way that I grow and the way that I do things, I like to pull all the greatest aspects from all the people I talk to. So if I talk to this person, they tell me do it this way, and I talk to this person, they tell me to do it this way. You know, eventually I talk to 5 people about the same thing and they all do it differently, right? I'm gonna take the best points that I think in my brain those 5 people gave me and apply it and make it my own. And I like that because it gives me something, one, that's my own, and 2, it gives me perspectives from other people that are doing it the best, right? And like I said, that's what made me go rogue, was because I was questioning, like, well, if, you know, everybody has this question. If God is so good, then why would he destroy it? If God is so good, then why would he, you know, let kids die? If God is so good, why would he let STDs go around the world? If God was so good, you know, why would he let hurricanes and tornadoes happen? You know, I started questioning all these different things. And that's what I would say, that, like I said, at the time I didn't understand, but I questioned everything, you know? So I started to say, well, let me figure out, you know, and that was the arrogance in me at the time, is I was like, let me figure out why. You know, let me figure out why these things happen, you know, because obviously this didn't tell me, you know, when I went to church as a kid, they didn't tell me. So maybe I can figure it out. Right. So that's kind of what made me jump into that path of going to that side of figuring it out on my own.
And with the questions that you had with why does God destroy and why do babies die, did you find your answer?
Yes, 100%.
What was it?
Yeah. The answer to that question of why God destroys and why does he let babies die, or
why does chaos happen?
Yeah, why does
corruption happen? Yeah.
And the answer to that question, now that I understand it, is he doesn't. God does not destroy. God does not let babies die. God does not cause chaos. He doesn't do any of those things, right? What I've learned now is that, you know, they like in this term, people say, you know, guns kill people. Right. No, people with guns kill people. Right. And that's the outlook that I have on that question of why does God destroy? God doesn't destroy. People destroy. People sinning is what destroyed the earth. People sinning is what caused death. People sinning is what caused chaos. People sinning is what caused, you know, this 5-year-old to pass away at an early age. That's the reason for it. It's not God, because God did everything good. Right. And now that I understand, the reason for everything that happens bad in life is because of our own doing. And I didn't understand that at the time.
That's interesting. Like, I like that perspective. We touched on that in a different video, and I think that the way you just put it is perfect. Like, God's destruction is consequence. You know what I'm saying? Not choice, not his will.
No, it's not his will. Yeah. It's just a consequence of being separated from God. Right. That's the reason for chaos and destruction. When we decided to, you know, take what he gave us that was good and, you know, misuse it, is what caused the chaos. And now we question him because we want to point the finger at him, you know, instead of pointing the finger at ourselves. Exactly.
And as people, we just kind of want to, we have a lack of accountability.
We have a lack of accountability, and we always want to look for someone else to blame because we don't like to look in the mirror. But the truth of the matter is, it's in everyone's mirror. Right. It doesn't matter how perfect or how bad you think you are, you know. Everyone needs to look in the mirror and say, I'm the reason.
So do you remember a point during your disbelief or during your confusion, during the time where you weren't like sold on God, right? Sold on Jesus. Do you remember the point or the moment where you started to question, am I wrong about this? Am I wrong about figuring it out on my own and nature and science and Big Bang? Like, am I wrong on that? Was there a moment that you felt that you needed to reevaluate your beliefs at that point?
Yes, I remember that moment, like literally like as if it happened yesterday or as if it happened last night.
My popcorn. Who is it?
So that moment, that first moment when I realized, hey, you need to wake up and realize you're wrong,
Right.
was literally after we had Journey. You know, after we had our daughter, I had went to bed one night. And like I said, I remember this vividly.
Yeah.
I went to bed that night, right?
Right.
And I had a dream, and in that dream, all I heard was like, "Get up, get up!" Like it wasn't like a get up as if it was like, you know, like I said, as if it was a dream. It was a get up as if someone was literally over me in my bed, like tapping me, like get up. Like I literally could feel myself get out of my body, but I felt that I was still asleep, but
Right.
it felt like I was getting up, right? And I got up, but I was still asleep. I'm not even joking. I was asleep, but I was up.
It's like sleep paralysis, kind of like.
No, because I wasn't stuck. I wasn't stuck. I literally knew I was sitting up. Like when I sat up, I knew I sat up. Like I could
You could
feel
see yourself sitting
I could
up?
feel, no, not just see. I could feel myself sit up, but I knew I was still asleep. I can't really explain
It's
it.
kind of like sleep paralysis.
Yeah, but I could move though. You know, a lot of times they have sleep paralysis, and you know,
kinda just
you're kind of
moving
just
around.
stuck. Yeah, you're kind of just stuck.
But you can move yourself.
I could feel myself
didn't move.
Yes, I didn't move, but I could feel myself move,
Okay.
right? And when I sat up, I was like, what's going on, right? And I just saw a figure come up the stairs, and I could feel chill. I'm getting chills in my body literally right now.
Yeah, I'm getting scared.
I literally saw a figure come up the stairs, and when I looked, the figure just stand in the middle between the stairway and my room. And I just looked, and I just sat there like kind of like scared, but also more of like, who are you, right? And I didn't feel a presence of scared, like a presence of like where I should be feared, like fearful, right? I didn't feel as if I should be fearful. So my scared kind of went away pretty quickly, right? And I just looked, and I couldn't make out what the figure was, but I looked at the figure, and I was just like, what's going on? And the figure was talking to me and said, man, you're wrong. You need to get it together, and you need to take care of your business. And you know, and because at the time, and I think the reason this happened is because at the time I was nervous. You know, we just had a baby. You know, I don't know how to handle a baby. You don't know how to handle a baby. You know, and that figure was telling me basically, hey, you know you're gonna be good. Like you're gonna be okay as long as you do the right thing. That was the main focus, right? He was telling me I was gonna be fine. I was gonna be okay, but only if I made the right decision. That's literally what was told to me. It was, you're not gonna have anything bad happen to you. Everything is gonna be okay. You're gonna prosper, but this will not happen if you make the wrong decision, and you know what the right decision is.
It's like choice.
Yeah,
Like
literally in my dream, like I said, it didn't feel like a dream, but in my dream, it was he basically told me, hey, if you make the right decision, I promise you, I got your back. But if you make the wrong decision, I can't do anything with you. And when I woke up that next morning, I literally had like a on and off switch, right?
Epiphany.
Yes, like literally it was an on and off switch, you know. In my mind, like, you know, I was like, I want to go to the clubs, I want to go party, I just want to go make money, you know, I idolize money, this and that, you know. But that next morning I woke up, I was like, I don't care about drinking, I don't care about going to party, I don't care about any of those things. I need to figure out how I can go forward, literally, you know. And I to this day, I can't really explain it to anybody other than how I kind of just explained it to you, other than I knew when I woke up that next morning, I was a different person. And I couldn't explain it to anyone. And it was kind of like just an off switch for me, you know. I used to kind of like think about how I feel about something, right? I'll be like, I don't really feel like it, or I don't feel like that's right, or I don't feel like that's a good thing. But when I woke up that next morning, all of that was gone. When I woke up the next morning, it was like, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is the right thing to do. No, this is the right thing to do. This is the wrong thing to do. You need to make sure you do that. You need to make sure you do this. You need to make sure you do that. You need to make sure you do this. Do that, and that, right? I didn't think about, I don't feel like that's good right now. I'll do that maybe later. And, it was no thinking at all. It was just doing. That's all it was.
Do you feel like now you don't function from feeling at all?
I would say 98% of the time, no. I would say 98% of the time, I don't function off of feeling. I just function off of right and wrong, and what is right and what is wrong.
So you don't care how you feel about things in general?
Honestly, no. Even if I do care, I don't. Like, even if I know deep down.
Is that healthy?
Huh?
Is that healthy?
I mean,
do you feel like it's healthy is that like suppressing emotion?
No, because me personally, I truthfully don't feel that way. Like I said, that dream that I had, it felt like this is what you're supposed to be doing, right? So truthfully for myself, like even if I feel sad or if I feel down or something, right? I go to sleep and wake up the next day, it's gone.
You don't let it dictate what you're gonna do.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, from that dream that I had, when I went to sleep and I woke up that day, right? It was like I said, that person was gone. So now, if I feel a certain type of way, I go to sleep and wake up, it's gone, and it started ever since that day, right? If like for example, if me and you not seeing eye to eye one day, I go to sleep and wake up, it's gone. I'm not dwelling. It's gone, right? It doesn't matter. There's no reason to dwell on anything, and me personally, I don't feel like I'm at an unhealthy place mentally or anything like that. I truthfully feel like I'm doing what I was told to do. What you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Were there any personal challenges that influenced this at that time? Like, was there things going on in your personal life that would influence these dreams and this feeling and like these convictions?
Yeah. I would say, like I said, I didn't realize at the time that, I was idolizing money, because, when you 21 and, you make quite a bit of money, right? At being 21, you're like, I could do whatever I want.
You started making like your salary at 21?
Yeah, I would say by the time I was 21, I was making over 6 figures. By the time I was 21.
I didn't know it was that early. Because I know that you got in the business
at 18.
But I didn't know that your promotion was at
that
21.
Quickly?
That was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
was that your number one challenge though? That the idolized money?
No, that was just one of them. That was just one of many. Like, I idolized money because I thought I was on top of the world, because you make a lot of money at a very young age, right? So that was one, and then I got introduced at 21 because my whole life, a lot of people in high school, they already did drugs or they tried drinking. I didn't do any of those things. But when I turned 21, all my friends was like, hey man, you old enough now, like you don't have an excuse not to, right? Yeah. So they introduced me into drinking. So I started drinking a lot too. So, I would go to work, and then after I got off work, I would go out with my friends and go drink every night, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? And just keep repeating, go to work, drink, go to work, drink. So drinking, right? And even women, women was probably, I would say, the biggest problem, right? Focusing too much on trying to meet this woman, trying to meet that woman, trying to meet this woman, trying to meet that woman. It was a game. Like, how many women can you get to like you? How many women's numbers can you get, right? That's what we would do when you would go out, especially as a young guy, you would go out and you would say, oh, I bet you I can get 5 numbers tonight. Yeah. I bet you I can get 10 numbers tonight. It was a challenge, And so I idolized, meeting as many women as I could. And that was a big issue. So those 3 things, trying to get as many women contacts as I could, drinking, and idolizing money.
Do you think that amongst your friends and men in your age bracket, do you find that they struggle with these things often? Like,
I would truthfully, I would say